In the 20 plus years that I have lived on the southern coast of North Carolina, this is the third time I have seen snow. So, this is a rare opportunity to enjoy some really cozy winter homemaking on a snowy day. There are a lot of ways to cultivate a sense of warmth and coziness in the home. Warm socks, soft sweaters, blankets around the house, warm baths, but almost always coziness starts in the kitchen. It is the heart of the home, and it's where we naturally gather to be together and to enjoy warm, nourishing food. A snowy day like this in North Carolina is so rare that I just pushed all my other homemaking responsibilities to the side and just did the things that are really cozy and warm, like making cheddar einkorn biscuits for breakfast. You can grab this recipe over on my blog at moonandmagnolia.com. I am making this with fresh milled einkorn. And then usually when I mix in the wet ingredients, I usually use Greek yogurt. You could also swap it out for sour cream, but I didn't have any Greek yogurt and all the roads and stores are closed down. So all I had was a little bit of cottage cheese and a little bit of just plain yogurt. So I am using both of those and it worked just fine. And that's one of the things I like about a day like this when we are snowed in, for example, is that there is a sense of coziness, but that also brings forth a sense of contentment because I can't just run out to the store and grab something because everything is shut down. Fun fact, if you live in the South and you get snow, you will not be able to go anywhere. Everything closes down for just a dusting. 4 inches, total shutdown. So there is nowhere for me to get anything, and I can only use what I have, which breeds a sense of contentment and it breeds a sense of creativity too. So just a quick rundown for this recipe. It is 2 cups of fresh milled einkorn flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, 5 tablespoons of cold butter divided, 1 cup of Greek yogurt or whatever you have on hand, and about a half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And these are drop biscuits, so you don't have to worry about rolling and cutting them. You just shape them into a little ball and put them in a hot cast iron skillet and bake them at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes. They're so easy, which is what I was going for because my main priority is taking my daughter out to see the snow for the first time. This is my daughter's very first time ever seeing or touching snow, and it was so sweet. But we don't have winter clothes for snow, and I looked high and low, but as soon as they said we were getting snow here, all of the stores sold out of winter gear. So we just layered up the best we could and we went out there. I don't have snow boots, so I ended up getting a pair of men's rain boots that were really big, but we just did the best we can and enjoyed it. Now, I don't know how my garlic is going to fare through this. I have a year's worth of garlic in my garden, but they are varieties that are specifically for mild climate. So we covered them, but unfortunately, they are looking really sad. But hopefully, they will perk up when things warm up in a few days. The unexpectedness of a day like this, where we get to be home all together and really just doing things that are fun, almost makes it feel like a holiday, playing board games and making all sorts of treats and just having a good time together. And so I am making homemade marshmallows and a homemade hot chocolate for us to enjoy. One of the things about homemade marshmallows is that they do need time to set. So if you are going to make them and you want to have them, say, after an afternoon in the snow, make sure you start them earlier in the day. You can let them sit out for a while at room temperature to set or overnight, but I like to put them in the refrigerator if I need to speed things up, which is what I did today because I didn't get them started in the morning. So I wanted to make sure that they were set and ready to go in a timely manner. I like to make beef gelatin marshmallows, and I know that sounds kind of gross, but I swear it does not taste like beef. The beef gelatin is unflavored. So first I'm combining some cold water and beef gelatin and then letting it sit aside. And then I am combining sugar, hot water, and salt and bringing it to a boil. And that needs to get pretty hot at 240 degrees. So I use a candy thermometer to make sure that I'm getting it to the right temperature. And then you simply just combine the sugar mixture with the beef gelatin in a stand mixer. And then you incrementally increase the speed just to prevent splashing until it's all the way up to high and let it mix for, I'd say, about 5 minutes or so until it turns into a marshmallow fluff texture. Then I'm adding in a little bit of homemade vanilla, pouring it into a buttered pan, dusting it with some powdered sugar, and then letting it chill in the fridge for a little bit. The only thing about making homemade marshmallows on a sweet, cozy day like this is my daughter really wanted to help me make them, but getting that sugar to 240 degrees is so hot and so dangerous that I wish I would have made them before she woke up, and then we could have made something like cookies together that is a little more kid friendly. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are making these with kids. Of course, having anything hot and simmering on the stove makes things feel really cozy. And when it smells like chocolate, that makes it even cozier. So I am making a homemade hot chocolate. And this is really easy. I am mixing 4 cups of A2A2 milk, which is a milk that I got from Azure Standard. I talked about that in my Azure haul video a few weeks ago. I'll leave a link for that in the description box below. But that A2A2 milk tastes a lot like half and half. So it's really good in hot chocolate. A little bit of sugar, a little bit of cocoa, and some dark chocolate chips. And then I'm just whisking it together until everything is combined and the chocolate chips are melted. There's something about a day like this where these really simple scratch made treats feel so sweet and so special. I think it's because it's unexpected. At Christmas, of course, it's fun to make cookies with your kids. It's fun to do those sorts of things, but it's sort of expected. That this is just a random Wednesday afternoon. No one was expecting this, and I definitely wasn't planning on making homemade marshmallows and hot chocolates, but I'm so glad I did. My daughter has been talking nonstop about the marshmallows. It hasn't been the snow, it hasn't been playing outside. It's been the marshmallows that she's talked about. And it's just a reminder that reclaiming simplicity in our homes and lives can have a profound impact. In the end, it won't be the fancy electronics and toys that shape our children's memories. It will be the simple pleasures, makeshift snow clothes on a rare snowy day, evenings spent playing Candyland, and of course, homemade marshmallows. Earlier in the morning, I got a pot of chicken broth going on the stove. So anytime I make a chicken, I save the bones, and anytime I have veggie scraps, I also save them and I put all of it in the freezer. And then when I have enough for broth, I just make a big pot of broth. So I got that going in the morning, and it was so nice and cozy on this cold day because the house smelled like warm chicken broth all day. So after we came in from the snow, it was so nice to walk into this warm house that smelled like soup. And of course, just keeping the stove on kept things a little bit warmer in the kitchen. For dinner, I am making sourdough oven fried chicken, which I'll show you how to make in just a moment. But first, I am going to make chicken noodle soup for dinner. It is easy, it is simple, cozy, and everyone in my house will eat chicken noodle soup. And I'm using the chicken broth that I had been simmering on the stove all day. So I'm simply just sauteing some onions, carrots, and celery. And then once they are tender crisp, I'm adding in the chicken broth. And then I put in a little bit of extra water. That chicken broth cooked down a lot throughout the day, so adding in the extra water cut that and it worked out great. And then I'm adding in about a half a box of pasta. I have made this before with homemade pasta and even gnocchi that is really good, but I was just keeping things simple for dinner. So while that is cooking, I am getting the chicken going. On a really cold day like this, I really crave Southern comfort food, and I had considered just making regular old fried chicken, but at this point in the day, I just wanted something a little more hands off. So I am using my sourdough crispy cheddar pork chop recipe, but I'm using it for chicken and I'm not using cheddar cheese this time. I'll leave a link for that recipe in the description box, or you can go to moonandmagnolia.com and just search cheddar pork chops and you'll find it there and you can get the gist of the recipe. But essentially, I am just breading some chicken breasts. I'm first dredging it through an egg and milk mixture, and then I am dredging it through a breadcrumbs, onion powder, Italian seasoning mixture. You can season it however you want. But one of the secrets to making breaded chicken like this is to make sure if you're using chicken breast to pound the chicken breast because one side tends to be thick. And so if you pound it, not only does it tenderize the meat, but also it just makes it cook a little more evenly. Because when you have breaded chicken and if you're waiting for that one thick part to cook, the thinner part gets dry, the breadcrumbs start to burn. So this makes it nice and even. So I'm just simply dredging these and then I'm putting them on a preheated stone and baking them. I think it was at 425 degrees. Now, about halfway through, the breadcrumbs weren't really toasting that well, so I took a little bit of spray avocado oil and sprayed the tops, and that worked out really great. Kind of similar to how you would spray food before putting it in an air fryer. And you can see these turned out golden and beautiful. This was warm, cozy, and delicious, and just what we needed to end our snow day at home. Now, we are still snowed in. We are heading into day 3 tomorrow of being stuck at home. So we are still enjoying some of these cozy pleasures. But for our first snow day in almost 10 years in North Carolina, and for my daughter's first snow day ever in her life, I couldn't have asked for a sweeter day.